Welcome back, students. Firstly, I want to wish you a very happy new year. Let's hope that this new year bring a lot of prosperity and happiness in this difficult times, and we are able to come back to the previous normal life. And let us hope that this new year we are able to fight this pandemic and emerge victorious. So let us start with the second part of this particular chapter that we were dealing with, that is Akbar. Last class we have dealt with Akbar and Bairam Khan and Akbar's Rajput policy. Now we will be studying about Akbar's direct conquest. So how was he like? How did he establish the empire? Not establish. How did he extend the empire? How able administrator he was. So he followed a very aggressive policies and he conquered Malwa, Gondwana, Gujarat, Bengal, Bihar, Kabul, Kashmir, and Kandahar. You can see in this uh, table which is given in page number 75, where the various battles fought by Akbar was being is being given over here as a tabular format, which will be easier for you to memorize and remember. So he had actually extended the Mughal Empire to huge, like to a vast portions of India, and he was being able to conquer various places and with his aggressive policies, and he was a very able administrator as well as a very able military general also. So, after conquering the northern kingdoms, he turned his attention towards the Deccan. So he sent his emissaries, that is, he sent his representatives to the Deccan and asked the rulers of Khandesh, Bijapur, Golconda, and Ahmednagar to pay tribute. So when the rulers refused, he annexed those particular territories. So he had a very aggressive policies. If you are not listening to me, I will annex your kingdom. So this was the direct conquest. I'm not repeating the various battles. Okay, I'll just repeat once. So second battle of Panipat, battle of Malwa, battle of Gondwana, battle of Chittor, battle of Bengal, battle of Haldighati, battle of Kabul, conquest of Kashmir, and conquest of Ahmednagar, fort of Asira. So Asiragarh. So these are the various battles and conquest policies and conquest made by Akbar. You have to remember the years of the battles, and you have to remember the various battles fought by Akbar. And the when you will be going through the Rajput policies of Akbar and direct conquest of Akbar, you will be able to memorize, or you will be able to remember. This is just a tabular format to remember it as a like quick at a glance. So now Akbar was a very able administrator. So we have known about the Mughal rulers, like the early Mughal rulers, that is Babur and Humayun, before in the last chapter, where we have come across the fact how they have extended their empire and how their policies of conquest were. So Akbar had a very not very different, but had a unique policy of extending his empire with his Rajput policy, which was mostly diplomatic and marital alliance, so that he could gain back most of the Rajput states, as well as use those Rajput rulers who were known for their bravery and their fighting skills into his own army. So this helped in extending his empire. So this was a very clever policy of Akbar. And he was also an able administrator. Like, he had maintained the administration very nicely and very like very properly. And the administrative purpose, so empire was divided into suba. So we get to know that the subedari system had started from Akbar's period. So the various provinces were known as Suba, and the head of those provinces was known as the Subedars. and was the supreme military commander in the province. So the Subedars were the most supreme military commander in the province, and he had the powers to punish the disobedient subordinates. So Subedars were the military administrators. Now the Diwans, there was another post of Diwans who was in charge of the land revenue. So each Suba was further divided into districts, which were again divided into smaller units known as Parganas. So districts, and we get Parganas. So the various divisions of districts, Parganas and Subas also come from that era, that Akbar's period. So the primary unit of administration was village, and it was under the charge of Mukaddam, a Patwari, and a Chowkidar. So these were the various posts created by Akbar in extending his provincial administration, and the panchayat settled village disputes. So there was the system of administration was being divided into various parts. In the provincial administration we have these various parts. Now we'll be dealing with the central administration. Focus on the various administration and various ways of administration properly in this particular chapter. Then the central administration. So the various posts again created in the central administration, that is emperor was the whole, like all in all, he was the head of the land, head of the administrative system, and he had unlimited powers. But he was also assisted and helped by a council of ministers. So the people who were chosen as a council of ministers hold various portfolios. So those were the wazir or diwan was the head of finance or revenue department. He was responsible for all the income and expenditure. You have already come across these posts in Delhi Sultanate when we were dealing with those. Now we are dealing with what Akbar had in his administrative system. The Mir Bakshi was mainly concerned with recruitment, maintenance, training and inspection of the army. So he was a paymaster of the imperial army. The Khan-e-Saman looked after the imperial household and controlled the royal bodyguards. He also managed the karkhanas. The Sadr-uz-Sadr was to encourage Islamic learning, and all the officials of the judicial department such as Qazis, Muftis were appointed by the king on his recommendations, on his recommendation of Sadr-uz-Sadr. Akbar held regular meetings with his senior officers in Diwan-e-Khas and listened to petitions and problems of the subjects in Diwan-e-Am. So there were, you can just relate, if you know about our parliamentary system, you can relate with this. The central administration had two houses, the Diwan-e-Khas and Diwan-e-Am. So Diwan-e-Khas was the place where he conducted meeting with the very senior officers, the only close ones in the council of ministers that he had, and dealt with the internal affairs over there. While in Diwan-e-Am, that is the place where he used to listen to petitions and problems of the people, of his subjects, of his prajas, or the people, the common people. So see, the two houses were divided, and the various ministers were also given the various duties and who assisted him in the administration. So this is about the provincial and central administration. Now the revenue administration. So revenue administration was also very successful and very well managed. So the main source of income was land revenue, and Akbar appointed Raja Todarmal, so who was a Hindu subject, as his revenue minister. Earlier in Rajput policy, we have known about this fact that he had actually had a very close relation with the Hindus, and he had appointed a lot of lot of Hindu officials as his in his court, who helped in the administration, and this way he maintained a balance between the religious communities, and also this helped in his diplomatic affairs and in his the Marital alliance which took place also helped him in extending his empire and in maintaining peace between the two religious communities, and also gaining the also making the Hindu people Hindu states or Hindu communities come under his rule. So this was a very important policy of Akbar. So now the new land revenue was called Zabt, which was being taken care of by Raja Todarmal, and he got all the cultivable land measured, and he fixed the land revenue. So the government gave loans to the peasants affected by natural calamities, and the other sources of income of the states were taxes on mines, salt tax, state trading, etc. And the minting of coins were also done during this time. So today we'll be dealing with this three: provincial, central, revenue administration. Next class we'll be dealing with the military administration and the religious policy of Akbar. The rest of the part of the chapter will be dealing with in the next class. That will be all. Just go through this portions and let me know if you have any doubt in our online classes. So that will be all. Thank you.